Revelation 9:11. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Welcome back, my friends. Today we're going to start this documentary off, and we're going to kick it off with Depopulation Agenda 2021, Agenda 2030, and Abaddon, the Angel of the Abyss, 3/11/9/11. We're going to get into the events that happened in 3/11/2011, as well as the September 11th, 2001 attacks. Not so much to get so much into the actual events themselves as far as what the official narrative was, because tremendous work has been done on these events over the years. However, the information I'm about to reveal is going to be very, very shocking, and there won't be any dull points to this video. Now, for those of you that are wide awake and familiar with much of the occult knowledge, now some of this video may be redundant. However, for those of you that are awake or perceived to be awake, I consider them to be more like people in my own family who believe that they are awake because they are reborn in Christ Messiah, Yeshua Jesus. Okay, they are awake. But what they aren't awake to is how deceived everyone truly is. Because as I have been saying all along, guys, and so many others before me, America is set for destruction. But that's for upcoming vids and Mystery Babylon, the Great Whore. So let's get started with Abaddon, 3/11/9/11. Well, I could think of no better place to start off than Elbert County, Georgia, in the United States, with these 10 granite slabs, a massive monument erected by the Luciferians. And this is going to tie all together with the depopulation agenda, because if you think that these people weren't dead serious about this monument, think again, guys, because what is coming, they placed right before us. And the more they reveal to us, the more bold they get, because we truly are mind controlled. We are caught up in an AI grid, and the United States of America has the most advanced AI grid control system in the world, guys. And you won't have to take my words for it. I'm going to be playing clips from Dr. Geordie Rose, the founder of D-Wave, the first quantum computer, as well as another whistleblower. Let's look at this Georgia Guidestone here. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Now, they've been striving to do that, guys. That is their end goal, is to maintain humanity under 500 million. They've been using technology to create these wildfires, directed energy weapons, and earthquake technology. Let's listen to Geordie Rose. Okay, this guy here, this real creepy fella. Okay, this is Dr. Geordie Rose, founder of D-Wave, the world's first quantum computing company, and Kindred, the world's first robotics company. So you guys can check this out on Idea City if you can bear it. I mean, this guy, he's hard to listen to. But anyways, let's just take a quick listen to what he has to say about AI.
But our place in it isn't guaranteed. If we make bad decisions, the future could turn over to our machine children and not our biological children.
Okay, I apologize. I tried several times recording that clip and it just wouldn't come out, guys. But he did say our machine children against our biological children. Let's listen to this next clip. Geordie Rose.
These fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines. At the heart of this big box is a tiny chip about the size of your thumbnail. And on this chip resides all of the wonder and magic that makes this thing go.
I wanted to stop it right there. Geordie Rose tells us not only are our children going to be machine children and biological children in the previous clip, he now tells us that it is an altar to an alien god that is awe-inspiring to him. Yeah, and the key word definitely is magic, because that's all it is. It's Satanism, Luciferianism. They are practicing magic and casting spells based on the teachings of Aleister Crowley. Let him train himself to think backwards by external means as set forth here following. And we're going to go right down the list. Let him learn to write backwards, walk backwards, listen to phonograph records backwards, speak backwards, read backwards. Instead of saying I am he, let him say ma, I. And these are based on the Aleister Crowley teachings of magic, guys, magic. And we just have a perfect example. Let him learn to walk backwards. Of course, we got Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk. Now, guys, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, okay, about the occult. But clearly we know that signs and symbols rule the world. Satan is the god of this world. So we try to limit here at my house the entertainment. And look at here, Miley Cyrus, the goat, the pentagram, okay? It's just everywhere, all right? I'm not going to get too much on Trump tonight, but pretty soon, guys, we're going to have to start waking up and realize that everything that you see on mainstream television is a lie. Don't tell me that this guy is not a Freemason and part of the whole control system. Okay, that's all I'm going to touch on for the occult now, for now anyhow, okay? I don't want to get too much off topic because I want to stay here on the AI. Now, many people know about the Matrix movies and, of course, the movie They Live. Now, I like to use that analogy and say if you put the Matrix and They Live together, that's a real close, that you're getting real close to the truth there, okay, minus Messiah, Christ Jesus. But I really find this clip very interesting because it really resonates. And the maker here, who is the maker of the Matrix, I'm going to set up the scene for you. This is the third series in the trilogy, and the third movie in the trilogy. And Neo here is speaking to the maker, who is a program who created the Matrix, and he is explaining to him how the Matrix failed. And that 99% of test subjects, when given the subconscious ability to choose to be awake or asleep, chose to be asleep. But that created a problem where 1% that were awake were against them and they had to be eliminated. So let's take a listen here, guys.
Please. As I was saying, she stumbled upon a solution whereby nearly 99% of all test subjects accepted the program as long as they were given a choice, even if they were only aware of the choice at a near unconscious level. While this answer functioned, it was obviously fundamentally flawed, thus creating the otherwise contradictory systemic anomaly that, if left unchecked, might threaten the system itself. Ergo, those that refuse the program, while a minority, if unchecked, would constitute an escalating probability of disaster.
This is about Zion.
You are here because Zion is about to be destroyed. Its every living inhabitant terminated, its entire existence eradicated.
Bullshit.
Denial is the most predictable of all human responses. But rest assured, this will be the 6th time we have destroyed it, and we have become exceedingly efficient at it.
Now, what I love about that clip is how it speaks volumes about the truth to this, about how people are mind controlled, and truly, denial is the most predictive human emotion, because the first thing that happens when people hear something that is actually, truth is terrifying in a lot of times. When you hear something that goes against everything that you were made to believe and goes against your grain, or is just shocking to you if you had somebody pass away in your family suddenly from a suicide or something, and I can relate to that, okay? Enough said. But anyhow, first stage is no, that didn't happen. No, that didn't happen, okay? All right, so let's just take a little look here in case you're starting to lose interest in this vid before we move on to the next topic, which is going to be very, very powerful. But first, let's take a quick look here at some predictive programming on how they show these directed energy weapons, as well as creating fires and destruction here on Earth to make it look like natural disasters. All right, now let me set up this next scene for you here up in the upper left-hand corner from RoboCop sci-fi movie. This is the news scene. And then on the right-hand side, you're going to have the real-life event of the Santa Rosa, California fires. And at the end of the clip, you'll see the directed energy satellite that RoboCop, the sci-fi movie, was showing here, that it is shooting down to the Earth and creating all of these disasters here on Earth. Well, this was happening in 1987, called predictive programming, and this is exactly what's happening now with the wildfires, not only back in 2017, but also with all of Australia, with California, and we'll get to that later in the vid. And we'll also show another clip here of Star Wars, how they reveal directed energy right in front of us. They are so bold. Let's have a look.
Wong. Top story, Santa Barbara. 10,000 acres of wooded residential land were scorched in an instant when a laser cannon aboard the Strategic Defense Peace Platform misfired today during routine startup tests. Casey?
Yes, it was a day of mourning for the families of 113 people known dead at this hour. Among them, 2 former United States presidents who had retired in the Santa Barbara area. A day of mourning for a country.
So, yeah, of course, they've been showing us this for years. Predictive programming. I mean, right here, directed energy weapons. Of course, you can't see them, but here for visuals and for entertainment that they use in the movies, they're showing us exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it. Okay? They have this technology and it's been around. There's truly nothing new under the sun. Let's move on. Okay, this here is David Goldberg. His YouTube channel. Well, he's passed. He was murdered for his testimony. Okay. I urge everybody to go and take a look at his channel now. It's called The Friends of David Goldberg. And this is his final words. This was on August 31st of 2019. The fact it only has 100,000 views is just staggering to me. In David Goldberg's final video before his death, he reveals 2 classified projects underway. Project Pogo and Project Zypher, to stifle American free speech, and the chilling plans for scheduled 2020-2021 that will result in the extermination of tens of millions of Americans. Okay, guys? I watched this a ways back, and since I watched this video, or listened to it rather, it's just audio. Since I listened to this audio, I have been watching the world stage play out as a script, almost exactly as this man describes. So you're going to hear the next 2 clips are going to be from the final words of David Goldberg, and then whistleblower Tom, who is going to give some information, and it is quite chilling, but again, fear nothing, be strong in the Lord. But this is some information that you're going to have to decide on how you want to handle it, guys. Okay, because this is as real as it gets. So please, it is frightening testimony. So if you have high anxiety, guys, or if you're worried about this sort of thing, and after you hear these clips, if you don't want to hear them, skip ahead, because after these clips, I'm going to go ahead and prove what is going on and prove that all this technology exists, and then we're really going to start to tear it up once we get into 3/11 and 9/11. We're just going to blow you away with that, so look forward to that. So please, kick back and buckle up and stand strong in the Lord and listen to these clips. And, don't take my word for it. Go out and do the research for yourselves, guys. I'm here to get a message out and to hopefully help you guys understand that there's a level of deception going on that is far greater than I think most people can possibly comprehend. So let's check it out.
I have been given the documents. I have been tasked with with this duty to get the information out, I'm going to do it in any way that I can. I have given my friends copies of all of these. I have stored them in different places. I have a dead man switch in case something were to happen to me. So I've done my best to prepare because I feel like this is getting very serious. I mean, the documents they show me are terrifying. The plan that they have in place. I would expect they have this plan of gatekeeping and tracking people, but they're going to take it to a new level with Project Zephyr. They're going to take it to a new level. They're going to exterminate these people one by one through the blackouts. I mean, it says in the Kosovo documents they're planning to pick them up. They're just going to physically pick them up. They're also going to use all kinds of other means to eliminate them. Not just the high-value targets are going to be picked up. The lower-value targets will be given viruses, targeted viruses, that activate either right away or over time. They don't want it to be too obvious that all of a sudden a whole bunch of Americans get sick. Of course, there will be official stories in the news media. Okay, there's a flu outbreak, which indicates to me this will probably happen in winter. Not this winter, but possibly the winter of 2020, 2021. From what I'm reading from the documents, that is the timeline. It is not specific, but that is where I feel it's going to be, because they want to do a flu outbreak, and it will make sense in winter, and people won't question it. They have to eliminate a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people, high value of targets. It's going to be so many people that disappear that people will ask questions, so they have their cover stories, and they're getting them ready, and they got them in place. If this were a few 100,000 people, they could do it, but it is millions and millions of Americans that they want to eliminate. I think it's 15 million. Based on what I'm reading in these documents and some of the numbers they've used, which has not been totally specific about it, but it looks like 15 million, but it could even be more. They want to eliminate them completely, because it's becoming a problem, and it has been a problem for a few years, and this is their solution to it. In addition to that, they want the world government, they want all of these plans to move forward. They cannot have opposition, because the things that are going to happen are going to be very, very radical. You're going to see the dissolution of the United States of America. You're going to see world leaders and the media endorsing something that is so crazy, and that is the dissolution of the United States of America and the endorsement of a world government seated in Israel. A lot of Americans aren't going to accept that, but they have to eliminate the people who are going to call out what's really going on.
The AI program is very hard to escape in the United States. They're ready to go. We're going to move on here. MK Jeep says, F them, I'll go out in a blaze of glory. We all eventually die anyway. My family and I will die with full armor God on. Plus ballistic vests and lots of rounds sent down. Okay, I appreciate the sentiment, but that's not going to happen, my friend. They're going to send a little drone up to the window of your home. It's going to drill a little hole. It's going to fly into your house when you're sleeping. It's going to shoot little darts into your family and into you. And it's either going to put you asleep, or it's going to cause you to stand up and walk out of the house while you're in total daze, because they're going to use a compound called scopolamine. It is a very powerful compound used to induce people into a hypnotic state. They're going to do what they're told. They use that in addition to some other compounds to induce people to walk out of their own homes into these vans or these military vehicles and then drive away in a hypnotic state. And if they don't do that, they just put you to sleep. So the drone is going to drill a little hole into your window, going to fly in while you're sleeping, very small drone, shoot you with these darts, put you to sleep, and then they're going to take you out. And they have different methods of doing it. Like I said, they use a compound called scopolamine and a few other compounds that will induce you to actually stand up and walk out. And it actually involves some an electronic device too, to induce that hypnotic state to tell you what to do. And you're going to walk right out. There's going to be a big military truck there, or it's just going to be a bus. It's going to look it could look innocuous. It could look like something nobody notices. Could just be a regular van, and you're going to walk into it with your family, and they're going to drive away, and they're going to take you to the underground base. So no, you're not going out in a blaze of glory. You're not going to die eventually. You're not going to die with your family with full armor God on you. You're going to be taken in the underground base. You're going to be tortured. You're going to be put in a cage, and you're going to have your limbs removed, and different body parts are going to be removed. You have experiments done on you. You're going to be tortured. You're going to be mentally, physically, emotionally tortured for as long as they can do it. It's going to be hell on earth. That is their plan. This guy says, Nemesis Now says, patriots need to stay in the USA and fight the Satanic New World Order. The more patriots who leave the USA, the less resistance. I want everyone to think about that. Don't leave. So this guy is completely deceived and deluded, dangerous. I mean, this is dangerous advice. No, we do not need to stay in the USA. The more patriots who leave the USA, the less resistance, he says. Nobody's leaving the USA right now because you're all deceived and you're all totally mind-controlled right now. And you don't have to worry about that. They've got total control of the USA. Nobody's leaving. You do need to get out if you're listening to this. The answer is not to stay and fight. You're not going to be able to fight. You cannot stop their technology, and the United States is not worth saving. If you think the United States, one of the most evil, corrupt countries on the face of the earth and human existence, you think it's worth saving. It's like saying, I'm going to go save Sodom and Gomorrah. You need to get out, save your family. Otherwise, you're looking at a future of being microchipped. If you're above ground, you're going to be microchipped and totally controlled. If you're lucky enough to be able to stay above ground and live and survive, you're going to be microchipped. If they take you underground, you're going to be tortured, have your limbs removed, and they're going to keep you alive for as long as they can and torture you. So that's your future if you stay in the control grid that is the United States. That is terrible advice. And I just want to reiterate for people, the control grid in the United States is the most advanced in human history. That's where they poured all their resources. They've got every imaginable form of surveillance going 24/7 right now in the United States. They know what you're doing. They know where you're at. They know what you're eating. They know what you're thinking. The level of control in the United States is beyond anything you can imagine. That's where they put their resources. They have not done that in some of these other countries. In some of these countries down in the southern hemisphere, that's their own playground. That's where they're going to go. They haven't poured those resources there. The control grid isn't there. The surveillance isn't there. The underground bases aren't there. The military isn't there. These are safe places. But the United States is the complete opposite of that. There is nowhere to hide in the United States. Nowhere. Parts of Canada, there are nowhere to hide in parts of Canada either.
Okay, this next clip here, again from Tom the Whistleblower, Friends of David Goldberg. This is his latest video. However, just like with Jordy Rose, clearly the AI system is working, and I can't record sound from there. So what I had to do is go ahead and play that audio on my speaker system and record it with the microphone. So I apologize for the audio here, but I had to do what I had to do to put this message together. So guys, please listen carefully and know this man is not just anti-Trump. He's trying to tell you, so listen carefully, that everything that we see on the world stage has been planned down to every detail, every minute detail that you could possibly fathom. They have covered their bases and they are ready. Okay, they already have us wrapped up in that AI grid, and this is what he's going to continue to talk about. So again, please listen.
I'll tell you right now, the guns aren't going to save you. The guns might save you from other people, from other patriots that are around you that are desperate for food. but it's not going to stop the government. This whole thing with Virginia, the whole thing with the Virginia gun thing is not, again, it's not the obvious. God, I've got all these people saying to me, Tom, if they're not worried about the guns, why are they trying to take away the guns in Virginia? They're not. That's not what it's about. Stop looking at the obvious. These people are way smarter than that. They don't care about the guns. Look what happened. All these patriots showed up at the Capitol building down in Richmond for a rally. It was peaceful. It went off without a hitch, by all accounts. But guess what? Now they know who they are. They identified every single one of those people that showed up at that Second Amendment rally. Mission accomplished. Do you see what happened there? They don't care about the guns. They'll take the guns if they want to take them. Or they won't. It doesn't matter to them because the guns are meaningless. They have technology way beyond what we got. They can send a drone into your house. It'll cut a little hole in your window. It'll fly into your house when you're asleep. It'll shoot a puff of scopolamine in your face. And it'll paralyze you. It'll put you to sleep. It'll put you in a hypnotized state. And you're going to stand up and you're going to walk out of your house with your family right into a van or a bus, and they're going to take you to the underground base. The last thing they care about or they're worried about are your guns. So all this stuff with Virginia and the guns and this and that is distraction. What they really wanted to know is who is going to get off their butt and come out to a Second Amendment rally that has the potential of violence and get corralled around all of our barriers and all the fences we put up and put themselves in a sitting duck situation and expose who they are. And that's exactly what happened. They would be able to identify those conservatives and gun supporters who came out to the Capitol, and they were able to corral and hurt.
On Wednesday, we saw what has...
What the plans are here. There's going to be a collapse, and they're going to use that collapse as an excuse to microchip everybody. If you don't have the microchip, you can't eat. You can't get the food rations. You can't be a part of the American economy. You have to get the microchip. That's what they're going to try to do. But they realized something. They realized there was always going to be a lot of resistance from Christians and patriots and Republicans against this plan. Does that make sense? I mean, most Christians are not going to feel comfortable taking a microchip. It's not something they would want to do. So what the powers that be, the elites, what they realized is, let's get somebody like Trump in there. Because Trump has come out and said that he could shoot somebody in the street and the people would still support him. And it's true, because he's got people hypnotized. So what the plan is this, Donald Trump's going to be in power when all this happens, and he's going to say, all right, Republicans, go take the microchip. And they're going to do it, because Trump said so. So is this making sense? I mean, that scared me. That really shook me when he told me that, because I realized, wow, that is part of the plan, isn't it? Because if Hillary was president and she comes out and says, okay, everybody's going to take a microchip if you want to eat, half the country would not feel good about that. Republicans, conservatives would say, oh, hold on a minute, we don't want to do that, we don't like that. There would be a lot of resistance from it. But if Trump's in there, then yeah, they're going to do it. Because he's got everybody hypnotized. That's a key part of the puzzle you need to understand about Trump. And you need to go back and listen to the part 2 where I talk about Trump so you can get some perspective and you know what's going on. Because Trump is not on your side. All Trump is doing is tweeting. He did not do the fundamental things that needed to be done to save America. And I talked about that in part 2. He needed to declare martial law, arrest everybody in Washington, D.C., bring in the Marines, and arrest these people. He didn't do anything other than tweet. So I hope you're understanding the purpose of Trump and why he's there. He's there to usher in the New World Order. They don't care that he went against the climate accord. They don't care about that. Everybody points to that and says, well, Trump got us out of the Paris climate agreement, so Trump must be on our side. No. See, they know how to fool you with this stuff. They know how to have Trump do a few things that look like they're against the deep state, that look like they're going against the grain, to get you on board and believing in him. But he's not doing what needs to be done to save the country. It's over. It is too late. He is owned by Israel. End of story. Don't get distracted by this guy. Because when it comes, when this collapse happens in the next 2-3 years, Trump is going to tell you to take the microchip. And they're going to spin it in a way that it makes Trump look like he's good. They know how to do that. Look how he just killed this guy, this general, Iranian general. He murdered him. But they spun it so it looked like he was protecting America. So I hope all this is making sense to you. They're really going to ramp things up. With this, everything happening right now, turn on the news for crying out loud. I mean, all you got to do is go to CNN.com, even though it is fake news, and you will see articles about AI, about automation, about the things that they're doing and the technology, and how they're taking away your rights and your privacy. They don't hide it. It's right in your face. But you're still asleep, and you still don't believe it. It drives me crazy, and part of the reason I'm upset right now.
So guys, I'm not saying that we need to fear anything, but I'll say it again, is that people need to start being aware. All right. People say to me, why are you doing this, Eric? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you put yourself out there like this? People are already out there doing this work, and they're not hearing it then. And that is because we are mind-controlled guys, and I'm also a watchman, and we're going to get into that. And this people like to throw at me all the time, Matthew 6:33, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. I certainly do seek the kingdom of God first every day, and I believe we all should be doing this. When I wake up first thing, I don't grumble about the day anymore. What I do, the first thing I do is I thank the Lord God the Father and Yeshua Christ Jesus for the day, and I pray for strength to get through each day. I begin the day with God, I serve God throughout the day, and I finish the day with Father God. So I don't just talk the talk, guys, I walk the walk. So we do seek the kingdom of God first, but it is very important that we all become aware of what's going on here, guys, because me as a watchman here, it tells us here, if we hear the sound of the trumpet and took not the warning, his blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh the warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come, and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. So yes, guys, I have to go ahead and get this message out, and I'm also doing this so I can provide it to my loved ones, so it will help wake them up. And we all have to do our part here. Ephesians 5:11, and before, I'm sorry if I didn't say before, that was Ezekiel 33, chapter 33, verse 5 and 6. This is Ephesians 5:11, and that was Matthew 6:33. King James Version, guys, Ephesians 5:11, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. And that is exactly what I'm doing here, guys, is because we do need to be aware of what is going on, because really the most naive people out there are the typical, and I'm not coming against the Christian faith, I'm talking about the average Christian out there that just says they don't need to know any of this information because they keep their eye on God, okay? I understand that. I totally understand that. All right. But if you have that mentality and you find things offensive, such as somebody saying a cuss word or doing something that you perceive in your righteous perceived mind to be against God, then believe me, what is coming will be more than you can bear. So it is people like I and others that are like me out there that are exposing this unfruitful works of darkness so that others out there won't fall victim and believe in the deceptions that are coming that are going to be so great that even the very elect shall be deceived, as it tells us in Matthew 24, chapter 24, guys. All right, so let's continue on. And yeah, I just wanted to show you guys here Matthew 24:4. Okay, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Okay, well, the very elect are few, guys, so if the very elect would almost be deceived, then think not that you could outwit the devil, because you can't. Not in the flesh, that's for sure, guys. We had grossly underestimated Satan. For the most part, most people have. And even I have up until probably about the last year or so. So, guys, it is important. Now, I'm not going to spend much more time talking about this because we need to get moving on to another topic. But as David Goldberg and whistleblower Tom were speaking about, okay, now I could not record on that. It just wouldn't allow me to record. But there was a part in whistleblower Tom's testimony is saying that they've already taken 100,000 people underground, and you haven't heard one word about it. And I believe him. I actually think there's probably more than that. Now, this website is called International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Okay. I just wanted to take a look down here, okay? Some of these dates go back to the 2015, and this one goes all the way back to 2010. But just here in the United States alone, okay, nearly 500,000 children go missing every year. 460,000 children are reported missing every year. But let's just pretend that half of those people, or let's say 250,000 kids, are actually disappeared. Where are they all going? Okay? And if you take all these other countries here that they have listed, Australia, Canada, Germany, India, okay, Russia, Spain, United Kingdom, and you add all those up together, it still doesn't even come out to this. Well, I haven't added it up, but it doesn't look like it to me off the top of my head. If not, it's damn close. Okay, guys? So who's taking all these kids? Don't tell me there's that many pedophiles out there that can't be caught. No, guys. It's these guys. Okay? The Bilderberger Group, the Rockefellers, okay? The elites, all these skull and bones, okay? And there's shadow figures above them, all right? But they take their orders from the fallen ones. And I'm not going to spend any more time here on occult knowledge, okay? We should already know what's going on here. These guys run the world. The world is a stage. Let's start to try to understand and comprehend, everybody, that everything that we have seen on the world stage that makes mainstream headline news 24/7, it is all staged, and anything that is real, they twist to put into their own narrative. It's called predictive programming, and it's mind control. And it's working perfectly, just as they planned. All through mind control, through predictive programming, through TV programs. Here is Skull and Bones. We got George Bush Jr. Circled here. He was a bonesman along with his father, Poppy Bush, and John Kerry, who was senator and later became Secretary of State. So all the elites, guys, they are selected, not elected. I'm sorry to inform you that this democracy should have been a republic. It is corrupt, the most corrupt nation on the planet. Now we're looking at Donald Trump. I'm sorry, guys. I have a lot of friends that support him. Okay, but he is a Mason. He's part of the boys club, part of the elites. Despite what Newt Gingrich said on a Fox News interview before he was elected president, saying that he was hated because he was not part of the club. Well, that was a deception. That was a lie. Here on the left-hand side, you see a nice pic here of from the Jonathan Kleck channel. He did an amazing job at decrypting the U.S. currency, especially with the Twin Towers, the Alfred P. Mora building, the Pentagon, and possible future events. I mean, if the previous ones came to pass, I pretty much am feeling quite confident that these ones are going to come to pass as well, because they line up with every vision and nightmare that I have seen, along with many other things, and we are about to progress on in this video. So I will include this rather, his decrypted currency footage in with my compilation that will be posted at the end of this vid of all the occult knowledge. And even again, this footage and these things, even if you've seen it before, it doesn't hurt to watch it again, guys, because so many things that I saw years and years ago, I see again, and with these new eyes resonate with me so much more even than they did back then. Okay, so yeah, a lot of these things that we saw back in the day, many years ago even, once we look at them again, it speaks more volumes now because more time has passed. So now time is going to get, now as we move forward, it's going to start to get more and more frightening as we get moving forward, as it reveals these dark, sinister technologies that they have, that they even show us, but nobody pays attention, and other channels have revealed to us. But I'm going to decrypt some things here that I don't believe anybody has ever done before about 9/11, the Illuminati cards. Okay, guys, so please continue to watch. We're about to get warmed up here. Let's continue on. This is Nazi Germany, 1938. Now, do those people look like that they are aware how mind-controlled they were by the propaganda machine of the Nazi regime? Okay, basically the Ministry of Truth. And they were associated with the whole Vril Society. They were occultists. And occultists, you know, I'm going to get into that one more, just touch on it briefly again about how they worship numbers, because, well, we're going to have to get into that as we get into 9/11, 3/11. But look at these people. They had no idea. They had no idea that it was going to lead to this. They had no idea. So, guys, be careful, because this is exactly where we're heading with Agenda 2020-21. All right, now it's time we're going to start moving forward and having a good time. I'm going to start to reveal these technologies, but first we have to go back and take a look at where all this technology started and how they actually tell us right in plain sight. This is from the Atomic Bomb movie, narrated by William Shatner. This is actual military footage that was declassified some years ago, and they made a movie and digitally remastered it. Not digitally, I'm not sure how they did it, but they enhanced it so the colors would come out better. But even here you could clearly see that the footage is still really bad. But this is going to prove to you guys here that this technology has been around for a long, long time. Now, this is underground shots, okay, subsurface detonations called hypocenters. This is going to be a 5 megaton warhead tested in Alaska at a depth of 5,000 feet. Now let's listen.
Conducted between 1965 and 1971, the tests were codenamed Longshot, Milrow, and at 5 megatons, the largest underground test was Canakin.
Canakin was a test of the Spartan ABM warhead. It was conducted on Amchitka Island in the Aleutian chain up in Alaska. That site was selected primarily for its remoteness. Canakin was to have been one of the largest underground nuclear tests ever detonated. It was judged to be far too large to conduct at the Nevada test site.
wanted to stop right there. Okay, William Shatner's about to tell us here the magnitude earthquake that it produced, the coastline that fell into the sea, and how much the ground was raised from the hypocenter where the detonation took place at ground zero. Now listen to the words that they use, because these are Easter eggs. Okay, ground zero may remind you of a place called the Twin Towers. All right, there's a reason why they call it that, and we'll get into that shortly. But listen to what he says here.
Seismic recordings of the test registered a magnitude of 6.8 on the Richter scale as a direct result of the detonation. Over 1,000 aftershocks with magnitudes as great as 4.0 on the Richter scale were recorded within the first 30 days following the blast.
Okay, let's stop right there. So a 6.8 magnitude earthquake it created with 1,000 aftershocks, up to 1,000 aftershocks following the next 30 days as great as 4.0. And that's a 5 megaton warhead. Now, Russia has 100 megaton Poseidon warheads that burrow into the ground to create tsunamis, and we'll get into that shortly, and I'm going to prove it to you. Okay? I would be willing to assume, in my humble opinion, that it would take probably a very small nuclear device placed at just the right depth, at just the right point on a fault line to create a massive earthquake. Because if this 5 megaton warhead could create a 6.8 earthquake just drilled into the ground, imagine what it could do on a fault line. Let's continue on.
The energy produced by the detonation caused the surface of the island directly above the device to rise 25 feet. Large portions of the coastline collapsed into the sea for a stretch of 2 miles from ground zero.
So, the surface of the island raised 25 feet, and stretches of the coastline fell into the sea for 2 miles. A detonation that created a 6.8 magnitude earthquake with up to 1,000 aftershocks, up to 4.0, raised the surface of the island 25 feet at ground zero. Now, ground zero certainly sounds like what they call the location where the Twin Towers were destroyed in Manhattan. Let's look on.
The beach and ocean floor in the near vicinity of the Canakin site were permanently raised 5 feet. The detonation of this weapon was the main motivating factor in the creation of the Greenpeace organization.
Okay, so I stand slightly corrected. It was 25 feet raised directly where the detonation occurred at ground zero. Okay, and it was also the main motivating factor for the Greenpeace organization. All right, now let's take notes of these guys, mental notes. Ground zero, earthquake, all right, with an underground nuke. Okay, and really I could go ahead if I wanted to get into the occult. I could break down everything that they had said, even the numbers that were on the sides of all of those shipping containers and on all the sides of those of the buildings that they had there set up for the test. Even all the words and the proclamations that they made as far as their official narrative, I could break down into the occult, because we know that they worship numbers. So here we go. Let's continue on, my friends. Now, we do know that they have microwave frequency technology. They don't even need nukes. But I want to show you how they do these events and how these upcoming events are going to occur. Now, they claim that Russia has this Poseidon bomb, which they do. And it's a tidal wave bomb for mass destruction, 100 megaton warhead. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a look at this, and then we're going to get into swarm bots and micro drones and talk about that before we get into the official narrative on the 9/11 and 3/11 story, and then we'll go ahead and break that down and blow your minds, guys. And then we're going to also get into frequency technology as well as agenda depopulation agenda 2021. Alright, so let's take a look at the Poseidon. It's one of a kind and it poses a real challenge to Russian rivals because it is an unmanned underwater drone. And it is a doomsday weapon, okay? The capabilities of this Poseidon bomb are quite staggering. The torpedo-shaped robotic mini-submarine can travel at speeds of 100 knots. It's 185 kilometers an hour. It has a range of 6,200 miles, and it can travel a maximum depth of 3,280 feet, which is actually 1,000 meters to be exact. The underwater drone is perceived to have stealth technology to avoid detection. As per Russian sources, Poseidon is armed with a mammoth 100 megaton warhead. Let's put things into perspective here. Here's a comparison. The Trinity test in 1945 ushered in the nuclear age, and it only had a yield, an explosive yield of 20 kilotons. Hiroshima's little boy bomb had a yield of 13 to 18 kilotons, whereas Nagasaki's Fat Man bomb had a yield of 20 to 22 kilotons of TNT. What type of missions would the Poseidon be used for, we gotta ask ourselves. Poseidon has the potential for multiple strategic uses. These could be some of its missions. Make nuclear tsunamis to flood and radioactively contaminate rival coasts. This weapon could create a tsunami wave up to 500 meters tall that will radioactively contaminate. That's 1,500 feet, large portions of enemies' coastlines. Poseidon could be armed with a cobalt missile. A cobalt bomb is a type of salted bomb, a nuclear weapon designed to produce enhanced amounts of radioactive fallout, intended to contaminate large areas with radioactive material. Upon detonation, cobalt-59 would transmute it into cobalt-60, a highly radioactive particle. And that has a half-life of more than half years. It will cause massive devastation, rendering large areas unusable for years. Alright, now there's a reason why I'm showing you these nuclear technologies. Let's not forget, guys, here, this 1960s test, this underground subsurface hydrogen bomb test that created a 6.8 magnitude earthquake with 1,000 aftershocks, up to 1,000 aftershocks, reaching up to 4.0 over the following 30 days. Okay, and it also dropped large parts of the coastline into the sea for 2 miles, as well as raised the island's ground at ground zero 25 feet permanently, and raised the entire island surface by 5 feet. Okay, let's remember those. Okay, in case I'm losing anybody's interest here, I want to keep revealing these AI technology. This is the Locust Navy launcher. Alright, these are microbots. They're swarm drones, and I'm showing you this real quickly just because before I play this actual clip of the real technology that they are showing us, which means they have advanced technology so far beyond this that it is beyond our comprehension even. Okay, that's how far advanced their AI system is. So first I'm going to play a clip that I saw a long time ago, and they're telling us exactly what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. However, people are saying, oh, this is just some sort of video that's not real. It was just more like a spoof. No, it was not at all. Let's have a look at that first, then we're going to check out the Locust system.
Customer pilots directed almost 3,000 precision strikes last year. We're super proud of it. It allows you to separate the bad guys from the good. It's a big deal. But we have something much bigger. Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, they can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped. Watch. $25 million order now buys this. Enough to kill half a city.
I want to stop it right there. I really want you to pay attention to the sound of these things, because I'm going to play the sound of the real locust system. And you're going to find out that these are very, very similar, because even though that this is something that they brought out years ago and people were saying, slaughter bots, what a joke, that can't possibly, this is just something to get people all nervous. Well, I'm going to prove to you in a few minutes here that this is exactly what they're doing. So let's check it out and really pay attention to the sound of this.
Buys this. Enough to kill half a city. The bad half. Nuclear is obsolete. Take out your entire enemy, virtually risk-free. Just characterize him, release the swarm, release the swarm, release the swarm.
Yeah, release the swarm. Release the swarm bots, the slaughter bots, the locust bots. They target us through age, sex, and all of this through the AI system, through all of our electronics, okay? Through that David Goldberg and Tom, the whistleblower testimony. It's very relevant, guys. It's very relevant. These technologies are fully active and operational, and they have been for many, many, many years. And the fact that they are telling us about it now just tells us how far advanced they are and how ready they are at any moment, whenever they are ready, with Project Pogo and Project Cypher. They will execute. Stand strong, guys. Let's continue on.
Lots of likes, and what's that all about? Oh, wait a minute here. And on your mom, she's on the spy stuff in the military?
What is this video right here? Oh.
No, I'm not going to click on that. It's just this human rights thing about oppression or whatever.
Honey, you're not going into politics, are you? I mean, no protest march.
Safe here, just like you said it would be.
Heavy traffic approaching the A720 this morning.
Again now, please pay close attention to the sound of these so-called slaughter bots.
Oliver, can you hear me? Listen to me.
can hear it. I can hear it walking like this.
Now take a listen here to the sound of the locust system. Now here you're going to see the locust system being released, the swarm bots being released, and their mission from these jets. And they'll be zoomed in here so you can see. Take a look. Now here we can see how the vehicles are deployed. Okay, now these swarm bots, they will communicate independently. Okay, they are completely autonomous, AI controlled, but they can also be controlled manually. But I firmly believe that in a very short time, if not now already, they have taken on control themselves. Vehicles execute their first mission. There they go to attack. And they actually go through 4 missions here. And you can see that. They're going to swarm around, get ready for their second mission. Now, even when some are eliminated, there's so many that it doesn't matter. It truly doesn't matter. They can't be defeated. So they don't really need nukes or any of that. They've been tagging people for a long, long time. I'm not going to proclaim to know how long. This is the 4th mission. All in one vehicle dump. The vehicle orbits around a common point. Then they go in for the strike. Okay. Okay, now this is from a video I named Satan's Bands Are Broken. I recorded a frequency that I was hearing and these things that were whipping by faster than a human eye could see. I had to slow it down at a great rate. And to me it looked like there is some sort of electromagnetic pulse going on along with these things whipping by. And if you listen to this sound that I recorded, and I couldn't find the original clip. And this kind of popped up on me as I found that locust system. But I wanted to compare the noise and take a look at the things whipping by if you can see it. Listen to the noise and see if it sounds familiar to that locust swarm. And keep in mind, guys, I live very close to a military base. All right, let's check it out. All right, one last time now, guys. Listen again. One last time. So it is my personal humble opinion that this locust system is related somehow to this AI frequency that I'm picking up and these things whipping by. Whether it's the same weapon system or advanced technology that we just aren't aware about, that I'm not sure. But it is my opinion that those two are the same. It's artificial intelligence. And this is what I've been screaming about for nearly a year now. So I'm grateful that I can now show that these technologies do exist and remind those out there that have forgotten and perhaps bring this to light for those that have been on the fence. Let's continue on now, guys. What does he have to say?
I'm Stuart Russell, a professor of computer science at Berkeley. I've worked in AI for more than 35 years. Its potential to benefit humanity is enormous, even in defense. But allowing machines to choose to kill humans will be devastating to our security and freedom. Thousands of my fellow researchers agree.
Now, yeah, Stuart here, I'm sure that he and his colleagues agree, and I agree, and I'm not one of his colleagues. I would take what he has to say, pretty serious because he's been doing this for a very long time, and I believe that there are benefits for humanity with these artificial intelligence. However, those in charge, rest assured, have no agenda for benefits to humanity. In fact, it's the complete opposite. They want to eradicate humanity and become as gods through AI. This is Stuart Russell's web page. You could look at his biography. Most of his selected publications go all the way back to the late 90s, all on artificial intelligence, as you can see right here, on artificial intelligence. Okay, all the way back to 1991, 1998. So if it's from that long ago, guys, rest assured that these technologies are way beyond our comprehension in technological advancement. Let's continue on now, and let's move towards 311, guys. 311. Let's get started. Okay, guys. Here we are familiar with the Illuminati playing cards, the card game. I never owned a deck or anything, but over the years I looked into them just because I found it very interesting that all these things actually have come to pass. Now, the reason why I was talking about some basic understanding of nuclear technology and, of course, underground nuclear technology, which we'll get into more of that specifically when we get into the 311 event. But first we're going to talk about Terrorist Nuke, okay? This Illuminati card, Terrorist Nuke, that shows the Twin Towers from September 11th, 2001 getting nuked. Now, most people wouldn't want to believe that was a tactical nuke that was used. For a lot of reasons, people wouldn't accept that because of, the radiation levels and such. But I'm going to show you in a minute here how they did it. Now, they also predicted the Pentagon was going to be hit, which was actually with a cruise missile, and I can't find that footage. I'm sorry. Perhaps in upcoming vids we'll get to it if it's necessary, but you guys know the official, or not the official, rather, that the official narrative is a bunch of BS, and if you haven't come to that conclusion, then guys, you need to really start to wake up. All right, so yeah, here they show the Pentagon attacks. Okay, they're showing World War III is coming. And I have a strong feeling I know how exactly it is going to begin, or at least how the destruction of America is going to happen. They predicted our Masonic Freemason president, selected, not elected. Enough is enough. Now, a lot of people think that there's going to be an attempt on this man, and that's possible because even in the highest rankings of the Brotherhood, in any fraternal order, they are all expendable. Okay, they all betray each other to sacrifice. Okay, they predicted Princess Di, and it's not even prediction. These are satanic rituals. They follow and worship numbers. Okay, we worship the Spirit of God. They worship numbers, and everything they do is so calculated that it is mind-blowing how precise and right down to the very second, even in most cases, right down to at least the minute, as to when they execute these false flag operations, because that is their mission, is to open the pit and bring about the the Satanic beast system. Now, a lot of people talk about World War III as the end of the world. Now that needs to be cleared up, guys, because the end of the world is actually not until after the 1,000-year millennial reign of our King Christ Redeemer here on earth. So no, that's not true. The hour of testing is already upon us, and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better for us. Okay, so for those of us in the United States that feel that we deserve to be somehow raptured out of here because we serve the Lord, well, people overseas in other countries, these Middle Eastern countries that are preaching the word of God in Christ our Lord Yeshua, okay, they're talking about a meteor strike here coming. Now they're serving God the Father in enemy territory that we couldn't possibly comprehend here in America. And it's kind of silly to me for us to believe that we somehow are worthy to be taken out of here before some of these other children, especially the children who have suffered at the hands of these elites beyond comprehension. And I have truly had enough, guys. I've truly had enough of it. So, yeah, guys, let's continue on here. How did they do it? With atomic demolition charges. Okay. First, go ahead and let's look at a known image of an atomic explosion. This is a 22 kiloton yield atomic bomb, not a hydrogen bomb. There is a great difference. Now let's just take a look at the characteristics of this explosion, how it almost looks as though there is an energy in it, as well as a fire so hot it shines bright like the sun, and it lasts for some time. Now let's take a look at some war footage, and then we're going to take a look at 9/11 footage and do some comparisons. And guys, yeah, let you guys draw your own conclusions. I'm going to present this evidence, and then you can go ahead and draw your own conclusions. But the further we progress on here, as I start to break down 9/11 and 3/11, you're going to see that this was all ritual sacrifice to Abaddon, the angel of the abyss, and Revelation 9/11, the Antichrist Messiah, who is the king of the king that we are going to have over us, the angel of the bottomless pit, Abaddon and Apollyon. Let's have a look here at this war footage. Okay, this is the Moab bomb. Now look at the detonation there. This is the largest non-nuclear device in the U.S. arsenal, so they claim. Okay, now this is a non-nuclear device. Look at how quickly the fire of that detonation dissipated. Now that has a kill radius of within 1 mile. All right, so or a diameter of 1 mile. So that would be a half mile in every direction would be completely wiped out, obliterated. I forget what the kill radius is exactly because it's a concussion bomb and it will blast your insides out from a fairly good distance away. Now let's have a look again here at this nuclear device, the 22 kiloton. Now this is not a tactical nuclear device. This is an actual strategic device. This here is a September 11th attack. Now take a look at that ignition. Now look at the bright spot. This was a very clear, bright, sunny day. And as it zooms in closer here, now don't take for granted that this footage is nearly 20 years old, okay? But look at that explosion compared to the previous conventional explosion. Here's another, we're going to look at it just in regular motion here. Now this also is very, very far away, okay? Those buildings are gargantuan. That was over a 14-acre lot that they had, a 14-acre lot. Now this here is Home Syria, a tactical nuclear weapon, and they claim it was a weapons depot. Does that look like a conventional weapon to you? Let's look at it again. This is a different view. Look at that explosion. Look at that. That is no conventional explosion whatsoever. That's Home Syria. They've been using tactical nukes, okay? This goes back a few years. Let's pause it right here and look at it, guys. I want you to take a look at the signature of that bomb. That is a tactical nuclear weapon. Everybody believes that that was a weapons depot. There is no way in the world that was a weapons depot. That was a low-yield atomic bomb. They have these atomic bombs, and we wouldn't even know that they use them. They've killed over 1 million people in Iraq. Okay, and they spread the depleted uranium all over the country. Now here again is the Moab bomb. Look at the signature of this bomb compared to the signature of this bomb. This is conventional, and this, they say, is conventional also. Now, if the other one is the largest in the non-nuclear arsenal, then why does it look like a nuclear bomb? This here is home Syria. It looks exactly like the nuclear detonation. This here is 9/11. Even the Twin Towers make up an 11. We'll get into the significance of that in a minute. That has all the same signatures of a small, very small nuclear device. And that would fulfill the card game of the Illuminati, Twin Towers nuked. And here's from another angle from a great distance. And again, you can see that clearly looks to me as if those explosions actually were projecting out. Okay? A bird dents the front of an airplane. They're made of aluminum. So there's no way that a plane is going to fly through a steel structure that massive, blow out on the other side, and create. Now this here is actual footage of a close-up, but look at the date, 2/13/21. That comes out to 2 plus 1 is 3, and 3 is 33. 2 plus 1 is 3. So you got 33 and 33. Look at the time. 3:32, so that's 3:33. Okay, that's the moment of impact at 5:3. Okay, so you have 33, 33. There's the impact. That looks nothing, and that is a very close impact. Very, very close. That looks nothing. Look at how quickly that fireball dissipates, and you can't say that wasn't with a full tank of gas. Here's another angle from 9/11. Look at the difference. Okay, for one thing, that wasn't even a plane. That was black, had a shadow. CGI, guys. I don't believe that was a plane for a second. That is not the same signature of a plane. Now that plane that took off from that airport, we can't say was not full of fuel, because this plane here actually took off directly from the airport and fell out of the sky before it even reached any altitude, because their official narrative was that the plane was carrying military cargo that was not strapped down properly and fell to the back of the plane, which created a great imbalance, and it fell directly down to the earth. So yeah, that was as full of fuel as it can get, and it was a military cargo plane. So guys, yeah, let's take a look here at the signature of this bomb here. As we highlight it and circle it, you can see it was a detonation that was outward. That black plane that flew into it was no plane whatsoever. Me personally, I believe it was CGI, and they used atomic demolition charges to fulfill their Illuminati card deck and their sacrifice to Abaddon, Revelation 9/11, the angel of the bottomless pit. And of course, back on the previous plane crash, if we break that down, that comes out to 33 and 33, which is the Masonic master number. And you can take a look picture here. 33, the Masonic master number. This is Albert Pike. He wrote Morals and Dogma, and he also predicted the 3 world wars and that the Illuminati would control the West, and they certainly do now. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but also if we look at that picture quick again here, you'll see that if we take that and add it up with the numbers here, it also comes out to 322, skull and bones. But now let's continue on, guys. Let's move along. Back to the atomic demolition munitions, because I know that for most people out there, they're going to say that's just not enough evidence for me, Eric. Okay. Atomic demolition munitions, okay, known as nuclear landmines, are small nuclear explosive devices. There's a picture of a landmine that they use, okay, that would probably blow up some heavy armored vehicles. ADMs were developed for both military and civilian purposes. As weapons, they were designed to be exploded in the forward battle area in order to block and channel enemy forces. Non-military, they were designed for demolition, mining, or earth moving. Okay? It says here that they've never been used for either purpose. I don't buy it for a second, because why else in the world would they call it ground zero? In terms of nuclear explosions and other large bombs, the term ground zero describes the point of Earth's surface closest to a detonation. In the case of an explosion above the ground, ground zero refers to the point on the ground directly below the nuclear detonation. Okay, ground zero refers to the area directly below the area of a nuclear detonation. Well, right here they call ground zero. Okay, here's the Twin Towers that blew up with what to me looks like an atomic demolition munition so that they could fulfill their satanic Illuminati ritual sacrifice to bring about Abaddon the Destroyer, the angel of the bottomless pit, and we'll get into that shortly. So again, atomic demolition munitions. Ground zero is, in the case of an explosion above the ground, ground zero refers to the point on the ground directly below the nuclear detonation. Okay? All right. Let's now start moving on towards 311, because both of these will tie together. Okay? 9/11 and 3/11 mean the exact same thing in esoteric. Now, the reason why I don't want to spend too much time on the occult is because this is going to be a long enough documentary. All right? If that is something that I see that people need to be aware more about, then yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. But there are people out there that have covered this in dramatic and thorough detail. Okay? But I want to reveal to you about this technology that they're using. Okay, if they're using nukes already, don't think that they won't use them again and again and again. Okay, let's continue on, please. Now, there is a reason why we're looking at this clip again. Let's remember that this was in the 1960s in Alaska. This was an underground test shot at 5 megaton yield. And that created a 6.8 magnitude earthquake. This was at a depth of 5,000 feet. It created up to 1,000 aftershocks, reaching up to 4.2 magnitude. And also, let's remember that large portions of the coastline fell into the sea, as well as the surface of the island itself was raised 5 feet permanently. And directly above the blast at ground zero, it was raised 25 feet permanently. So let's have a look at the official narrative from the Discovery Network on what they proclaim actually happened on March 11th of 2011. Let's have a listen.
All across northern Japan, they felt it. A violent magnitude 9.0 earthquake on March 11th, 2011. It was centered about 80 miles offshore, and tsunami warnings went up immediately. In coastal cities, people knew what to do next: run to higher ground. It's from these vantage points on hills and in tall buildings that incredible footage was captured.
I'm sure incredible footage was captured because it was no accident, and they were probably waiting. As you could see here in the Illuminati card game, there was a tidal wave, a massive tidal wave, and a nuclear accident, which was no accident. If anyone's to say that some crazy coincidence, then they have to say that the Illuminati card terrorist nuke was a coincidence, the Pentagon card was a coincidence, the nuclear accident tidal wave was no coincidence. Is Donald Trump a Freemason? Yes, he is. He's a paid actor, guys. I'm not going to keep hitting on Trump, but he is the man who's about to usher in the New World Order. Okay? He's our deceiver. He's not the son of perdition. I'm not proclaiming that at all. He is expendable just like all of them. It's worse than the Sopranos. These guys turn on each other all the time. So let's rest assured, guys, that the New World Order World War III card is going to come to pass. But let's continue on here with 311, and I want you to take a look at this short clip vid that I made here from Russian Vids on the 311 occult, and then we'll carry on. It's you got to watch this. It's very powerful. Check it out.
The difference is this one has the satanic lightning bolt embedded in it. So you understand what's taking place here. They're all one and the same, working together against us. Now, again, taking a listen at this quote from Peter Gilmer one more time.
The police are great, and a lot of our members are in the police force, just like they're in the military.
Then you see this. Then you see our military aircraft with the skull and bones with the Navy. Okay, this is all about, again, those behind the scenes. There's George Bush, skull and bones, embedded in our military. Now, take a look here at this Marine fighter. It's called VMA 311 Tomcats. And I talk about 311, which is nothing more than Freemasonry coded for 33. To understand what's taking place here, again, how they control the entire matrix, real quickly, as I shown before, with the band 311. Just basically people behind the scenes that created this music band. They find people with talent, they shape them and form them to what you see on TV. Just like you see here, 311 is 33. This is, again, the devil's number. Now, again, getting back to this Marine fighter, Tomcats 311, I find it very interesting. The code name here, I looked on Wikipedia and the details. Take a look here. Find it very interesting with the nicknames. Not only Tomcats, but the occult of Hell's Bells, as I made a video before previously on the occult of the bell. Let's take a look at some of these logos. Understand what's taking place here. The Fighting 311 Hell's Bells. Okay? It's very easy to see what's taking place once you connect all the dots. Now, again, taking a look here at George Bush with this graduate student from Texas State University in Austin. Now, understand what's controlling our entire military. U.S. military is the Pentagon. And what is this here? Take a look. It comes to Satanism. There you go. Within the upside-down pentagram is the Pentagon in the center. You understand what's taking place with these Satanists. Understand as well, you'll see these medals of honor. They're all upside-down pentagrams. With the Army, the Navy, Marine Corps, and the Air Force. So you understand what's taking place. And all these, of course, are false goddess. Minerva, Statue of Liberty, Minerva again. These are, again, all false deities, false idols. So people understand what's taking place in this world. Again, when the Bible states how Satan deceives the whole world, it's like a totem pole. It's like an umbrella. It all goes down from the top to the bottom to these people, lower levels. But again, they are part of the matrix.
Okay, now we are going to get into the March 11th of 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. This is from Wikipedia. Okay, this is their official narrative, and it's just filled with numerology of the Masonic order and everything that they hold true, which is, of course, 311, 911, Abaddon, the angel of the abyss. All of these are sacrifices as well as depopulation agenda, because rest assured, guys, okay, this combined disaster right here that we see in these Illuminati card games, World War III, this is coming, okay? Look at this one here. Goal, population reduction, epidemic, all right? Just turn on the news for 5 minutes, okay? And you'll see that they're constantly just pushing this crazy pandemic nonsense, when really it's likely the vaccine that is going to be the real weapon, and this, not this man-made biological coronavirus. It's ridiculous. Okay, so let's take a look at the events here. Now, this is going to be a two-part documentary. I'm going to wrap this up. This is going to be the last segment. I'm going to break this apart for you and prove that this was a controlled event, which everybody already knew for the most part, or not everybody, but most of the truth community definitely knew it was for the most part. The 2011 earthquake off the Pacific coast of Tohoku, okay, was magnitude 9.0, 9.1. Both of those are significant. Undersea megathrust, okay? And you can go check this out for yourselves, guys. Even the times are significant, but I'm not going to break all that down today. Notice all the 11s, okay? And the 2s and the 11s, okay? Those are significant. At the epicenter. The epicenter, or epicentrum, is in seismology is the point on Earth's surface directly above a hypocenter or focus, the point where an earthquake or underground explosion originates. Okay, it was approximately 70 kilometers, 43. Okay, that's 444, and it's also 12. 1 and 2 makes 3. Okay, it just goes on and on. But here's where I want to get to. At a depth of 29 kilometers at 18, which also equals 9. The earthquake is often referred to the Great Japan Quake, also the 311 quake, the fourth most powerful in the world. That's no coincidence. In seismology, it is a synonym of a focus. The term hypocenter is also used as a synonym for ground zero. Okay, remember ground zero from right here, 9/11. They always called it ground zero, and that's because I believe firmly that they used atomic demolition charges to fulfill the terrorist nuke Illuminati card. Okay, so again, hypocenter. Let's click on it. Here's the hypocenter. A hypocenter, or hypocentre, okay, for below the center, is the point of origin of an earthquake or subsurface nuclear explosion. In seismology, it is a synonym of focus, of the focus. The term hypocenter is also used as a synonym for ground zero. Ground zero, in the terms of nuclear explosions and other large bombs, the term ground zero describes the point on the Earth's surface closest to a detonation. Okay? Synonym for ground zero, the surface point directly beneath a nuclear airburst. Okay? So we see a lot of connections here between ground zero, 9/11, 3/11. Well, let's have a look at Revelation 9/11 and eSword. Now, my eSword program, I can't get to work. I have offloaded it and reinstalled it, and it just doesn't work. None of the software is working here. I'm having a lot of problems. Well, Revelation 9/11, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon. but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Okay. Well, let's take first a look at Strong's number 3. Okay, here you can see I typed in Strong's 3. This is Yahoo. What does Strong's 3 mean? Abaddon, right here. Okay, here it is. Abaddon, the angel of the abyss. Okay, ruin, destruction, from, to perish, the place of destruction. See Hebrew, Abaddon. Again, place of destruction or ruin. Now, let's take a look at Strong's 11. Well, that is, they love to mock us. Strong's Greek 11 is Abraham. Strong's Hebrew 11 is Abaddon. Abaddon, place of destruction or ruin. Abaddon. See Hebrew, Abad. To perish. Annihilate. Annihilated, been lost, broken, corrupts, destroy. 33, destroyed. All the way down we go. Surely perish, take, utterly destroy. Okay, waste, wiped, ruined, obliterate. They are worshiping and sacrificing to the angel of the abyss. Let's take a look at Strong's Hebrew 9. A lost thing. Well, let's click on that. Interesting. A lost thing. Well, that might not mean much, right? Oh. Let's click here. To perish. Wow. Well, let's go back to the official narrative. Now, I said that 9 and 19 had a lot of significance. Well, let's look at Strong's 19. Strong's Hebrew 19. To slaughter. Strong's 19. Slaughter. From an unused word. So that's why 19. Let's have a look at a couple others. Let's have a look at 9. Strong's 9 again. Oh yes, that's a lost thing. Okay. So here's a little something I did. A few wise guys, I started working on it. All right. 9 is a sacred number because it's the first cube of an odd number. 3, and which is their prime number. 3 times 3, or 33 equals 9. Okay. Or 3 plus 3 is 6. Plus 3 is 9. That's how they do it. It happened on 311, which is the number 33, the master number. However, it also equals skull and bones right here. If we take the 311, you do 3 plus 1 equals 2. So you got 3, 2 plus 1 is 2. So that comes up with 322. That's skull and bones. Freemason is the Freemasonic master number. Strong's number 3 is angel of the bottomless pit, Abaddon. Strong's Hebrew 11, Abaddon, place of destruction. Date of event 3/11/11, skull and bones, 9-point magnitude. Well, we saw that not only is 9 representing the number of complete and all-embracing, 9 seats in the whole cycle of life, depicting in the form of a circle which contains a 360 or esoteric 666, which is the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. Okay, 360, which is a full circle, is also 3 plus 6, which equals 9. Okay, and all the numbers from 1 to 9. She played a big role in the numerical system of the various religious traditions and cultures in Christianity, Buddhism, and the occult and Masonic doctrine. Okay, so that was just something I was working on there. Now we go back to Strong's 9 right here. And that leads us to, again, a lost thing, which on the surface doesn't seem like much, but from Strong's 9, Abaddon, it takes us down, says it's an unused word, but it says follow this, and of course that's destruction. All right. And to perish. Okay. So their root words are all the same. It all comes down to Revelation 9:11, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Okay, so it's not that I am against Trump. I am against having any of these elites or any of mankind have authority over me. And let us not forget, guys, about the Russia Poseidon unmanned underwater drone, because it is a doomsday weapon. There it is. Because they tell us straight up that the Poseidon bomb creates earthquakes and tsunamis. And this footage here again is from the 1960s in Alaska, and this created a 6.8 magnitude earthquake, and that wasn't even on a fault line. So imagine, it probably would not take that much to create a magnitude 9.0, 9.1 and create such a tsunami. That was a ritual sacrifice, guys. So let's start tying some more things together. Okay. In case we had any more doubts if that was possible, that this was a controlled ritual sacrifice along with 9/11 and probably countless other events that have been decrypted over the years, and we'll get into the money currency that they had printed on here at the end of this vid like I promised early on. Now, let's just take a few look here to tie a few things together that these really are. They're talking to us through their numbers, okay? Right here. 29 kilometers equals 11. 8 and 1 equals 9. 18 also is esoteric for 666. 6 times 3 is 18. It's also 9 plus 2 is 11. So that's 9, 11. Why do they worship the number 11 so much? It's everywhere. And 19. Okay? 13, because there's 13 Masonic blood, or 13 Illuminati bloodlines. Okay, and there's the 33. And then it's always number 6. Okay, let's have a look. First, let's take a look at the number 19 again. Strong's 19. To slaughter. Okay, right here. These are the people. They're not even human, to be honest. If you believe that, then guess again. They are here to slaughter. Now, let's look. .311 is 33. Okay. Let's type in Strong's 11. Abaddon 11. Destruction or ruin. From Abaddon to perish. So everything that is here, okay, this equals 9, this equals 11. Now if you really want to get into the gematria, system used 911 secret occult number. When you add up each digit, which is how numerology works, you get the number 11 because 9 plus 1 plus 1 equals 11. Or some dark occultists see 911 as a way to present the number 92. In this case, 9 is kept as 11 and converted to 2 plus 1 plus 1. 92 is said to be an extremely dark occult number for black magic. Either way you look at it, they both numerologically break down to the master number 11 because 9 plus 2 is 11. Back to 9/11. The former twin towers of the Stoic World Trade Center stood proudly as two prominent pillars forming the numeric vertical structure and appearance of the number 11. The towers, standing side by side like the number 11, had 110 floors. 1 plus 1 is 11. Okay, and we can follow this down. The tower is 1,776 feet in height, and 776 is a crucial year, as it was when we had the first 4th of July, as well as the year the Illuminati was formed. Also, half of 1776 is the number 888. Okay, which is also Christ representative, but the occultists twist everything. That was what was the tree of knowledge, which was good and evil, because before Satan and his kingdom fell, there was both good and evil in the kingdom of God. So they took everything as above, so below, and so below as above. They took as the eternal kingdom, the eternal secrets in the kingdom of God, and they've twisted everything and perverted it. That is why we worship the spirit, and they worship gematria. And that is their language, and that is why people like me and so many other like me who have learned to speak their language can see through the enemy's plans. So truly we are in a type of matrix, because we are in a prison that is bound by numbers and signs and sigils and symbols, and that is truly what is governing this realm. Okay, so this is going to wrap up the documentary here for Abaddon, the Angel of the Abyss. However, I have a lot of information on Agenda 2020, 2021 for depopulation, and I will get more into that in the weeks ahead. I also want to get back into how we raise our vibration through the blessings of our Lord and Savior, the Redeemer Christ Messiah Yeshua. That is Jesus Christ, guys. So I look forward to doing those videos as well, but I wanted to get this information out there, and I can get more into these videos in upcoming weeks. And please, guys, stand strong, because truly very, very difficult times are coming, especially first and foremost for the United States, guys. So stand strong. And here at the end of this, I'm going to go ahead and put on from the Jonathan Kleck channel, his decrypted U.S. currency. Now, I got to be clear, I'm not affiliated with his channel. I'm not affiliated with Russian vids. Okay, as a matter of fact, I don't think these guys even like each other too much. So, but when I see truth, I see truth, and I'm going to publish it. So, guys, you have a blessed and safe night. Much love from God the Father. And I pray that this documentary was of benefit to you guys, and look forward to seeing you guys soon. And there'll be much more to come in the months or weeks and months to come. All right. God bless, guys. Take care.